Hi, this is Krista at The Secret Yarnery. Today we're going to be learning treble crochet. To make our treble crochet, you're going to need whatever yarn you're using for your project or your sample. I'm using this chunky 4-weight acrylic. It's like an acrylic craft yarn. And I'm using a 4.5mm hook. So to get started, we're going to be doing a foundation chain. So we're going to be doing a slip knot and a foundation chain of 10. If you're not sure how to do that, there's a video of which I'll put in the link above. You can check it out. So put your slip knot on your hook and chain 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And for treble crochet, it's a turning chain of 4. So I hold my work right at this last chain 10 and I'll chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So there's your turning chain. We're going to do it the same as our double crochet and our half double, but we're going to wrap our yarn twice to start and then hold those stitches with your finger so they don't mess you up and slide around. Now into the 5th chain from your hook, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, conveniently right where you're pinching. Put your hook into that V, getting 1 loop on your hook. Grab your yarn and bring it back through. Pull it up so it's about the same size as the next loop on your hook. Wrap your yarn and take off 2. Resize, like pull your hook up again. Wrap your yarn and take off 2. Pull everything back down on your hook again and wrap your yarn and take off 2. So that was your first treble crochet. So we're going to do that again all the way down our foundation chain. So for our next treble, wrap your yarn twice and hold them on your hook with your finger. Go into the next stitch. Let's push your hook in, getting 1 loop on your hook. Grab your yarn and bring it back. And I'm holding right underneath that stitch now and I'm pulling my hook up because I want it to be about the same size as the next loop, that center loop. Grab your yarn, so just push your hook down into your yarn and lift it up and snag it, and then turn your hook so it's facing down and take off 2 loops. Push your hook back through so this, and let your tension go a bit so this loop gets bigger like the next loop on your hook. Grab your yarn again, turn your hook down and pull through the next 2 stitches. Pull through the next 2 loops. Push your stitches back up onto your hook, grab your yarn again and take off 2. So you've done 2 treble crochets now. Do it again. So wrap your yarn twice, hold those loops on your hook with your finger. Push your hook into the next stitch, getting 1 loop on your hook. Grab your yarn and bring it back. Pull it up so it's the same size as that next loop. Grab your yarn and turn your hook down and bring it through 2 loops. Push your hook up again and let your tension go a bit so it's the same, that loop is the same size as the next loop. Grab your yarn, turn your hook down and take off 2. Resize it again so it's the same size as the next loop. Grab your yarn, turn your hook down and take off 2. So treble crochet is like a triple take off. You take off 2, you take off 2, you take off 2. Double crochet, you take off 2. And half double, you take off all 3 loops at once. So that's how I remember my stitches of what I'm supposed to do. So for treble crochet, wrap your yarn twice. Put your finger on your loops on your hook and into the next stitch. Grab your yarn and bring it back. Move your fingers over so you're holding underneath that stitch where you're working. Pull your hook up. Grab your yarn and take off 2. Put your stitches back on your hook down where it's nice and big. Pull your hook up a bit. Wrap your yarn and take off 2. Same thing, make your stitches nice down here at the bottom of the shaft of your hook. Wrap your yarn and take off 2. Wrap your yarn twice, hold them with your finger. Go into the next stitch, 1 loop on your hook. grab your yarn and bring it back through, hold underneath your stitch where you're working, pull your hook up, grab your yarn, take off 2, pull your hook up, grab your yarn, take off 2, pull your hook up, grab your yarn and take off 2. So now you've done 5 treble crochets. So wrap your yarn twice, hold them with your finger, go into the next stitch, grab your yarn and bring it back, wrap your yarn and take off 2, wrap your yarn and take off 2, wrap your yarn and take off 2. Wrap your yarn twice, go into the next stitch, grab your yarn and bring it back, wrap your yarn and take off 2, wrap your yarn and take off 2, wrap your yarn and take off 2. So we have 3 more to do. Wrap your yarn twice, go into the next stitch, grab your yarn and bring it back, wrap your yarn and take off 2, wrap your yarn and take off 2, wrap your yarn and take off 2. Wrap your yarn twice, go into the next stitch, grab your yarn and bring it back, wrap your yarn and take off 2, wrap your yarn and take off 2, wrap your yarn and take off 2. Wrap your yarn twice, go into the next stitch, which is the last stitch, grab your yarn and bring it back, wrap your yarn and take off 2, wrap your yarn and take off 2, wrap your yarn and take off 2. So that is your first row of treble crochets, and you can count them just by separating them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And we're not counting our turning chain. And you can see how that's kind of bowed out a bit. It's made like a loop on the side. So to fix that, and how I do it, for me, is I just do a turning chain of 2. So it's not going to be the right height, it'll be short. Turn your work and do your first treble crochet into that first stitch. So just into that first spot right there, I'm going to do my first treble crochet, 2 loops of that V on my hook, grab my yarn and bring it back, wrap my yarn and take off 2, wrap my yarn and take off 2, wrap my yarn and take off 2. Into the next stitch, so wrap your yarn twice and you're going to go into the next stitch. Both loops of the V on your hook, grab your yarn and bring it back, wrap your yarn and take off 2, wrap your yarn and take off 2, wrap your yarn and take off 2. So we'll just do a few more so I can show you that edge of why we didn't do a chain 4. If you want to do a chain 4, you can skip the first stitch and move over, but it kind of looks, you get a bit of a hole on the one side. Not the end of the world. Whatever you do decide to do, just do it the whole way. It's you're the creator. So you can see this is our first treble crochet on this row, and this is our first here, but you can see how this one really goes out the chain 4, and this one's a bit more of a straighter edge. That's why I do it that way, if a straight edge is what you're going for. So wrap your yarn twice, go into the next stitch, grab your yarn and bring it back, wrap your yarn and take off 2, wrap your yarn and take off 2, wrap your yarn and take off 2. So keep going, and I'll show you how to see your last stitch on the end, because that's another tricky bit when you're starting out. So your last stitch is here, this guy. Get my needle in there, there we are. So 2 loops on your hook. If you turn your work up towards yourself, you'll be able to see it. So wrap your yarn twice and go into that one. It's always a little bit on a hill, so you got to pull up that hill so that your end of your row looks straight. And you can see that this side where I did a chain 2 is a lot straighter than this side where I did a chain 4. So that's just how I do it. So chain 2 again to turn your work, and go wrap your yarn twice and make 1, starting in this very first stitch, make 1 treble crochet into each stitch, and I'll meet you at the end of this row. At the end of the row, you can turn your work up, so pinch it and roll it towards yourself like that, and you can see this last V. So you're going to go right into that V, both loops, same as usual, and make your treble crochet into that spot. And you can see this side and you can see the other side. I've finished my 4 rows. When you have finished your piece, it's the right size for you. At the end of your row, chain 1 and cut your yarn, leaving enough to sew in with a needle. So I leave about 5 inches, and pull your hook up and your yarn through, and then just snug that down so that makes a bit of a knot and your work won't unravel. And that's how you do your treble crochet. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, subscribe, and share. And thanks for watching. Stay hooked. So here's the difference between the 4 basic crochet stitches: single crochet, half double, double crochet, and treble crochet. Single crochet is half the height of double crochet. So double crochet is double the height of single crochet, and treble crochet is triple the height of single crochet. And half double is right in between the height of single and double.